What's going on? This is Mando Crusader, and welcome to episode 5 of Sunless Skies. Last time we left off, we discovered Magdalene's, as well as completed our trading opportunity from Port Avon to Magdalene's. We are no longer starving to death or at risk of running out of fuel. We have money, and as I said, we discovered Magdalene's House of Small Comforts. So we're gonna see what's going on here, and after that, we're gonna try one more trick to finding possibly where Port Prosper is. I have a. We're gonna try searching over here. I think this may be the spot, though I'm not completely sure. But before we do that, let us check out what's going on here. So, the House of Small Comfort. Magdalene's is the closest thing many Skyfarers have to a home. It offers services to alleviate the strain of a life spent too close to the stars. So we can treat our nightmares, we can treat our terror, or we can go to Magdalene's House of Small Comfort. We aren't going to treat our nightmares. I think we can do it for free here, but there's another place we can do it for free later down the road, and one nightmares isn't really that bad. So we're going to instead go to the House of Small Comfort. The glass spires of Magdalene's pierce the clouds like swords. Shadowed figures can be seen moving through the gleaming corridors, their identities obscured by hued glass. Crowds of Skyfarers, ministry officials, and merchants mill about the forecourt in varying degrees of distress. All watch the clock set in the great clock tower, waiting for their appointed hour. So first things first, as always, let's write a port report. Magdalene's is a popular destination. Someone will no doubt be interested to know how things are here and who has been seen here. Magdalene's is a buzz with activity. Barely the clock has chimed, then a clamor goes up at the front desk. Guests rushing to and from appointments. Lord Redacted was seen in conversation with the amenable host. The East Wing was closed for general access all day. A certain distinguished admiral was seen with his second-in-command entering one of the chambers of regret. Several guests succumbed to an excess of sentimentality and were forcibly removed. Next, we can complete a commission here. Deliver the sky-maddened captain. You rescued him from a defeated marauder. Here, he can get help. Treatment. The nurses bring a stretcher to carry the sky-maddened captain from your train. He'll receive the care of Magdalene's finest. At least, Magdalene's finest with a sense of charity, given that he has nothing on him to pay for their administrations. The sky-maddened captain is no longer aboard our locomotive. We have one vision of the heavens. Our terror is down to 0, and we've gained 100 experience. Next up, let's speak with a watcher by the station. He stares at your crew as they disembark your engine. He turns away when none emerge holding anything. He is clearly agitated. Missing in delivery. Sorry, man apologizes. I didn't mean to stare. It's just we've been waiting for a delivery from London. Really important supplies. I don't suppose we might be heading anywhere near the relay to Albion, would you? If you could check if anything's happened to it, we'd really appreciate it. The Albion transit relay lies to the west-southwest of New Winchester near Port Prosper. It said it would be in the north. It said the north originally. Okay. Hold on. West-southwest. Well, I guess it's time to start looking over here then. At least we're relatively close by, I suppose. Finally, meeting with the amenable host. The founder and master of ceremonies at Magdalene's. He has requested you by name. An attendant escorts you through the dazzling violet corridors. The host's red door is always open. The attendant leaves you just as the clock begins to chime. The amenable host reclines in a couch of crushed velvet, a goblet of sparkling wine in his long fingers. Somewhere in the tower above him, the great clock ticks away. As a policy, the host's atrium is always open to guests. He is available to hear opinions, friendly criticism, and suggestions. Today, he has a headache. Listen to the amenable host's request. He beckons you close. A sickness. His voice is soft and sibilant, like butter melting in candlelight. A guest has become rather too attached to a particular attendant. He always requests the same attendant appear in the exact same guise. The amenable host's lip curls in distaste. He reiterates the aim of Magdalen's, a place of healing and respite. It was not meant to feed obsession or self-indulgent self-loathing. This guest brings sickness. I would have him purged. I have a dossier on our guest if you're interested in helping. Alright. Take the Lachrymose Guest's dossier. The amenable host has requested help in removing a customer who is blurring the boundaries of healer and patient. An acting challenge. The amenable host smiles indulgently. I'm so glad you want to help. He produces a thin sliver of pages and passes them to you. I'd recommend taking on the role of one of our attendants. That way you'd be playing the role of someone significant to him. The amenable host sighs, reaching for his goblet. He knows all of our attendants by voice now. Someone new is needed. Alright. Well, deal with the Lachrymose Guest. He stands on the threshold of the treatment chambers, his hands trembling. The attendants on duty have been informed about your involvement. How do you plan to deal with him? A treatment chamber has been emptied for you, should you wish to adopt a guise from his past. Alternatively, he is standing right there. He does not seem to have noticed you, his eyes instead boring through the doors of the treatment rooms. Let's see, we can approach this directly, disguise yourself as his mother, or disguise himself as his lover. But disguise yourself as his lover. Let's see. I feel like a direct approach isn't ideal. You know what? It's always a problem with your mother. So, let's, or is it father? There's some psychological saying about that. So let's go as, assuming I'm correct, let's disguise herself as his mother. She drove them apart once. The attendant will help you with the wig and makeup. Another with the voice. You look just like the faded daguerreotype, down to the teeth. Daguerreotype, down to the teeth. You gnash your jaws reflectively. The Lachrymose Guest's eyes widen as he enters your chamber. This is a mistake. I didn't ask for this. You never do you? You get to work. When it's over, you doubt he will be returning ever again. Alright. Speak to the amenable hosts. We've solved his problem. Let the amenable host know the Lachrymose Guest is gone. For better or worse, he will not be returning to Magdalen's. Satisfaction. The amenable host smiles beautifully. Beautifully. I butchered that, probably. Of course, my staff will be pleased. He is a risk of our trade, when our clients can no longer separate identity and illusion, but seldom pleasant. He sighs deeply, echoing around the chamber like a newly freed dove. It is a trap any of us could fall into. His face darkens briefly. Here, take this. He fishes around beneath his couch for one of his goblets. It fetch a pretty price. Take it with my thanks, and do visit us again. Alright, we've gained 100 sovereigns. And we didn't even need to leave the port. Speak to the amenable host again, because I know, unless he can't do it now. Here it is. Listen to the amenable host's request. He is melancholy today, not to mention irritable. He has a job for you, he says, his voice rich with unhappiness. Discretion, always. I admired your discretion earlier, he sighs. You have seen the dangers of our work upon those who abuse our service, yet we are not immune to it ourselves. He draws your attention to several paintings on the walls. My regulars have, at various points, requested that I be a prospector on Lustrum, heir to a fine house in Port Prosper, and a titan of industry on New Winchester. Very specific requests, and more, I have vivid memories of being all three. Yet all cannot be true, surely. He presses a locket into your hand. This bears my image. See if anyone remembers me. I can't remember who I was before this. If I could be other than I am, I'd like to know. So we're going to have to go through several ports to discover his identity, and one of them is Port Prosper. All roads lead to Port Prosper, it seems. Right. So, with all of that said and done, let's stock up on fuel and supplies and plan our route. I think it would be best to try to search down here before going up here. We can sort of do a curving motion through there. I think that's what we're going to do. So, onwards we go into uncharted territory. There's Perkins' corpse. And down through here. And I will be passing by that horror again, I think, unless there's another way around, which I don't think there is. Hopefully this video isn't partially laggy like the last episode was, or I should say this episode isn't laggy like the last episode was. I think I'm still new to recording with OBS. I think, fingers crossed, that I solved the problem. But only in editing will I be able to tell, and you guys will be able to tell by watching the video. If it's still laggy in parts, I'm gonna keep the video up still, because obviously I can't like redo this. Like, once progress is made, you can't like take it back, especially in like legacy mode. So yeah, we're gonna keep on trucking along and hope for the best, really. Just hope for the best. Send out our scout. Found a couple of things. Found a homestead and a signal box. Now you always want to check these signal boxes because of this right here. Recruit a Fatalistic Signalman. You detect a whiff of cigarette smoke as you enter. A man in a gray uniform and gray bowler rises from a chair. Evening. I don't suppose you're looking for a signaler. He does not sound hopeful. How long has he been waiting here? The Fatalistic Signalman is an officer, a signaler who increases your mirrors by 6, veils by 2, and villainy by 1. You're absolutely interested. A break from duty. He is startled by your response. Oh, right. Was expecting you to say no, to be honest. You asked what he was doing here. I work the Isambard line. I'm the last one, I suppose. Hitch ride between the boxes, make repairs, sweep up a bit. But I could do with a change of scene. He seems unsure. Oh, I better get my things together. He picks up a modest hold-all and checks his hat is on his head. Yes, I think that's everything. After you, comrade. We have recruited the Fatalistic Signalman. Leave. And let's... Nope, wrong one. Let's talk to him. Let's talk to him. The Fatalistic Signalman. His mustache is stained with nicotine. His Isambard line uniform is neatly pressed. He always expects the worst, confident in the knowledge that he will still be disappointed. trade tales of terror over tea and biscuits. He is reticent by nature, but can be coaxed into conversation over depressing stories with horrible endings. Sounds like a fun person. We unlock this with 2 tales of terror, and we needed 2. Warming to the subject. Soon you are engaged in dismal competition. You raise the sad fate of Parliament and the tragic disappearance of the HML Parzival. Foreshadowing. He counters the story of his own past. I worked on the Isambard line. It was meant to ring the whole reach, a chain of accelerators and hour funnels to speed locomotives between the outer ports. Doomed from the start it was. Some said cursed, but I reckon building a road around the sky is just bloody difficult. It were never finished. He slurps his tea. I'd like to take a proper tour of the Reach, see exactly how stupid we were. The Signalman wants to go on a lengthy tour of the Reach. Accumulate 6 Reach port reports. So, we can't progress the story until we have 6 Reach port reports. We're not going to be able to give those to him for a while, because right now, we need our port reports. This is Addison Wick, by the way. We need our port reports for money and for Savage Secrets, so we can pursue our ambition. Additionally, while we're here, we can grab a Homestead. A solitary settler lives in this modest homestead. She's not much of a conversationalist, but the enticing smells that waft from her kitchen are convincingly. Eat your fill. Hospitality is important on the frontier. Settlers invite you to join them for a meal. This will reduce terror, and if you are starving, buy you some time. Now, I know one of these homesteads serves some very peculiar food. I don't think this one's it, though. It is not. Breaking bread. Your host serves a grim but filling gruel, then follows it with a plate of genuinely exceptional custard tarts. Your crew descend upon them like chorister bees upon a rival hive. And we are breaking out terror. So, regarding Port Prosper, I have feeling. And if you've watched the last couple of episodes, you know my feelings always lead to good things, and only good things, never any bad things, and certainly not near-death experiences. I believe, in my expert opinion, that Prosper is somewhere around here. Didn't want to do that. So that's where I'm going to look. Also, I'm thinking about cutting down these... Well, hold on. Let's look at the wreck of the upgraded first. Windows... A wreck... 26% chance? I don't feel like taking that risk. Let's mourn the dead. And again, we are without terror, and we are under attack. Ouch. Thought I could dodge that. I suppose we really don't have any momentum right now. I can't wait till we get better weaponry. So anyway, what I was about to say was I'm thinking about cutting down these exploration sequences so that only exciting things really shown. Let's reach Marauder for materials, refill our hull, because he did take a nasty hit. Because really just flying through space here, or the sky I should say, is not the most exciting thing in the world. And it also makes these episodes probably a bit longer than they should be. If that sounds like a plan, to you guys, let me know in the comments, and, I'll cut the next episode that way. Or I may still just do that anyway, but your guys' input would be greatly appreciated. Mad Mercy's claim. Oh my goodness. Guys, do you think this is it? Have we finally found the mythical Port Prosper? Have we finally found it? We have. This is it. The Fulbright Factory. Port Prosper. We have made it. The Mornington Albrock span. We finally made it to Port Prosper. I could have sworn they said it was up north, but oh well. So much to do here. So much to do here. We are currently at Queen's Cross Station. Crammed at the feet of a hulking crag, Port Prosper is a little London, divided into an affluent west end and an impetuous east. Queen's Cross is a busy station, crowded with the engines that have arrived from the nearby transit relay from Albion. First off, deliver the fastidious inspector. She disembarks with her bag in hand and peers up at a clock tower that is being raised above the station. It is tangled with scaffolding and rings the sound of hammers and the cries of workmen. Accept your payment. The inspector will depart. Be sure you've held any conversation with her that you wish to. You will receive fuel and supplies in addition to a sum of money. Ensure you have 6 spaces in your hold before accepting. We currently have 5, but I'm sure it'll be fine. A satisfied customer. Thank you, Captain. Here is the balance of our agreement, and, as promised, a requisition order for fuel and supplies. She casts another glance at the incomplete clock tower. Given the apparent state of construction, I'd recommend you visit the worksite. There may be an opportunity there. And thank you for the pleasant conversation, Captain. The sky can be a lonely place. You've enlivened it. I have included a small additional sum in your enumeration as a token of my gratitude. So you've gained 3 fuel, 3 supplies, 150 sovereigns, and 60 experience. Ah, I was right. A new clock tower. They plan to call it the Albert Clock in memory of the departed Prince Consort. But there's a way to go yet. The roof isn't finished, and the clock neither ticks nor bongs. You can see the fastidious inspector up among the workings with a spanner and a can of oil, showing the workmen how it's done. Ask the horse foreman what they need. I mean, we can already kind of see what they need, but still. For the lore. Instructions. Bronzewood, the foreman wheezes bluntly. 1 consignment. They sell it at Trader's Wood and Polymer and Plenty's, I hear. And a gourd of chorister nectar, too. This bunch of work-shy ingrates need consistent shouting at, and my voice has given up the ghost. Some nectar should have me bellowing again like a champion. Carolyn's your best bet there, or Titana, the flower town. We'll pay, like. So we already have the chorister nectar, and we have 1 more than we need, so we can sell it when we get back to New Winchester, sell 1 of it. And we need to go back to Trader's Wood, though, for the bronze wood. So that is that. Next up, let's recruit the Incognito Princess. Perched atop a mountain of luggage is a radiant young woman. She's an officer dressed in what an actor would wear in a fantastical romance. A tiara rests on her brow. A steady stream of commoners come to pay homage, bowing and curtsying enthusiastically. Starlings circle in dense swarms above her. Refugees from old London are a common sight, although not in such numbers. She ignores everything and hands you papers so pristine they can only be forged. Offer her a berth on your locomotive. She would certainly make an interesting addition to the crew. I mean, what better way to put those 100 sovereigns you just earned to use, huh? We may as well. Welcome aboard, Your Majesty. Excuse me, I need to take a drink here. I am a humble first officer looking for, what's the word? When commoners do things for coin, she asks. Work, that's it. She beams at you, delighted, as innocent as a Gatling gun. As she steps aboard, a commoner calmly takes a spoon from his pocket and scoops out his eyes. After such radiance, all else is tawdry, he says between screams. It seems she's already forgotten about her signing on money. That is certainly a normal thing to do. I do that all the time. Next up, let's explore Port Prosper. Its narrow streets huddle in the shadow of a great crag. Banners display the stony features of her renowned majesty. Wealthy West Enders strut by, exchanging polite greetings and veiled gossip, while snooty East End workers file to the hour refining factories. Peeling posters promise fresh, wholesome lives in the reach to new arrivals. But most of the posters are years old. More newcomers arrive at Port Prosper than ever leave it. Right at Port Report, very little happens on Port Prosper, but someone might take an interest. The factories continue to belch out smoke, while over the bridge, hopeful crowds gather outside the Admiral Nelson. Lovers can be seen strolling arm in arm along the promenade, at a respectable distance from their chaperones. There was a brief protest outside the Windward Company factory, swiftly quelled. The scenes at the Nelson were as good as ever. No, the scones at the Nelson were as good as ever, though the piquancy of the jam was less than might be desired. Attend a parade. It is, apparently, the Feast of the Red Saint. Gaudy banners fly over the painted rooftops of Port Prosper. The smog of the East End is hidden away by giant posters displaying dragons in varying degrees of vivisection. The cramped streets are clogged with people. Wealthy West Enders promenade about the amusements, while impoverished East Enders work the stalls and huddle by the chestnut fires for warmth. A painted dragon, pursued by knights, is chased through the crowds to a chorus of Ho! The riding! Mingle with the West Enders. The hats, the sirloin, the starch that gleams in the mustaches. You're sure you'll fit right in. Now, we're mingling with the East Enders. Lurking in the tents or manning the stalls in the side streets or scowling at the passing gentry. They seem more your level. Of course, after all, we are revolutionary. In favor of the proletariat. Oi! A wide-eyed East Ender elbows his comrades somewhere under his jacket. Who's all this, then? A crowd gathers from out of the shadows. You are subjected to a number of looks that, if not quite filthy, are at least grubby. Eventually, the huddle disperses. The first East Ender extends a thin hand, lined and worn. It's a good sign you wanted to talk to us. You spend the afternoon watching vaudeville players satirize the Red Saint and his dragon in an out-of-the-way tent, followed by a hearty supper of roast chestnuts and almost palatable ale down by the station. And finally, search for the amenable host's identity. The house might still be here. It had purple walls, which would surely stand out. If not, you have the locket. Not a soul in Port Prosper recognizes the locket. Who's that, then? Does he still wear his hair like that? Fancy. Became regular refrains. More promising is the house you saw painted in the amenable host's chamber. You locate several candidates, all apparently repainted over the last couple of years, but one is in the exact location as the host's painting. Nobody seems to remember who owned it or why, but apparently it had once been associated with the Parlor of Virtue, established not long after Port Prosper's foundation. Okay. So, we still need to look at New Winchester and Lustrum. Next up, we can offer transport to settlers. Explorers, adventurers, and pioneers gather here, freshly arrived from Albion, all awaiting transport further into the Reach. An opportunity. Transport a settler. Would-be pioneers clamor at the station, eager to make their fortunes amongst the stars. I simply must move to Titana. From everything I've been given to understand, it's altogether divine. His handshake is firm to the point of rudeness. He leans in close. My time is precious, you understand. I'd appreciate it if you got me there as quick as you can. You shan't go unrewarded for the effort. And finally, there is the parsimonious chairman's offices. The offices of the Windward Company on Port Prosper are elegantly appointed, if antiquated. Paintings of old London adorn the walls. The parsimonious chairman has work for ruthless captains. He sits behind his imported mahogany desk, a decanter of brandy at his left hand, and a series of neatly stacked reports at his right. A fire has been lit in the cavernous hearth. It is too warm. So this would give us an opportunity to kill Tackety engines for profit for us and to help advance the Windward Company's interests. We are against the Windward Company, or the Stovepipes, I assume, as they're mostly called. So we are not going to do this. We're just going to ignore that ever happened. We are going to sell 1 barrel of fuel for the extra 10 sovereigns, because our hold is altogether too full. And there's Aquadon Spring. We need to head down here to the transit relay. So, if you recall, this is the thing that we came out of at the beginning of the game when we were fleeing from the Blue Kingdom. This is what we use to transit around to the different maps and areas. So, the Albion Transit Relay. A stone edifice, scintillant, I'm just going to butcher that, scintillant with sigils, is encased in a contrivance of steel and brass. This is a Sin Jenkins relay, allowing transport, via a loophole in some cosmic mandate, across the sunless wastes to a far-flung district of heaven. This one leads to Albion, the heart of the new British Empire and the seat of Her Renewed Majesty Queen Victoria. First things first, check on the delayed package. It turns out that the previous courier was detained for having the wrong paperwork. Fortunately, the goods were impounded on this side of the relay. Sign here. The board customs official is glad to clear some space in their cramped office. As long as you don't want to travel between regions with the appropriate paperwork, they couldn't care much less about cargo. This package has been serving double duty as a card table for the last week, but now it's yours, and the people of Magdalen will be glad to receive it. So we need to go back there. Additionally, maybe not. We could, with a 100% chance of success, bribe the superintendent to give you a travel permit. So, to travel between areas, you need to get a travel permit for that area. Normally, it would cost us 2 ministry-stamped permits. However, because of our high veils, we could buy one right now for 500 sovereigns. However, that's almost all of our money, so I think we're going to hold off on that. Besides, we really don't need to head to Albion right now. Almost got stuck there. We don't need to head to Albion right now. So we're gonna hold off on that and only buy it when we need to. And who knows, by that point, we may even have some ministry stamp permits to enable us to not spend 500 sovereigns. Alright, I just checked my recording time, and it seems that we're out of time. This is a very, very long episode. Well, not very, very long, but actually, I think it's the shortest one yet. So, that was a bold-faced lie, but it's still a bit longer, it went a little longer than I like. I'm going to try to cut these episodes a little bit shorter, so it's a bit more compact to consume. Next episode, we are going to roll in money. We're going to deliver that package to Magdalen's. We're going to head to New Winchester, and I'm going to explore some of the West, as well as buying the bronze wood for the clock tower so we can complete that assignment. That quest. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, ring that bell, comment below if you'd like to see me play any other games. Comment below if about cutting the exploration and travel segments. They're going to be cut anyway once it's all explored. But I was gonna just cut the exploration segments in general. So be sure to comment about that if that's what you'd like to see. That's about it. Have a good one.